Hey guys, welcome to Congress Live. We're here today with Marty, George, and we have Daniel Wally and Danny Wally. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for being part of the live stream. We're gonna start with the mandatory. What do you do this week in slot car? So I'll put Marty on the spot first because Marty was already talking about it. So
yeah, well, it was an exciting weekend. Actually, it was pretty cool. We got invited. I say we, the Two Lions crew got invited to Bruce from Cincy Slots house track. I guess a couple times a year he does a race at his house, and he has a beautiful 4-lane, nice layout Carrera analog, 4 lanes. It was pretty challenging track. But I ran pretty good, so that was kind of what I got into. But because of that, I didn't get to finish any of my content and publish it because I ran out of time editing. So I've got some work to do later tonight.
all right, so talk to us more about what classes you ran and what cars you ran.
Oh yeah. So they ran for this event. They ran Trans Am modified, which would be anything that classified as a Trans Am class, what is 67 or 68 through the early 70s. So mostly Mustangs, Camaros, Cudas, Cougars, all those. And the modified meant most of them were running 3 chassis. So Daryl, we joke around and call Daryl Penske because he supplies cars for everybody. Daryl lent me a car, and then I picked up a Revo slot 333, Ferrari 333, and we ran Revo slots, and so that was the car that I ran pretty good in. Cool. So I kind of tuned it on the spot.
And so
I followed George's instructions from last week.
Hey Slaughter, welcome to the live stream. He's just about to go to bed, so we'll say hi before he logs off.
Yeah, we're bad for Dave's sleep habits on Monday nights and Tuesday nights.
Well, that's good. So you got to race a bit. George, what did you do this week?
Work?
No, you said you were doing a whole bunch of videos this week.
I was working on the hot rod one, which I'm almost completed. I had to edit it.
Yeah.
Just put footnotes and stuff like that. So
cool.
But all I've been doing all day is getting estimates for garage doors. So house stuff.
Yeah, no worries.
Our garage doors are very old and decrepit. So.
And Daniel, what were you up to this week?
Well, mostly work. I had plans to work on a couple of slot cars, get some things soldered up, but my Weller iron went bad, so it quit working. So I didn't get to do that. And so I have a circuit specialty soldering station, but the tips are hard to get for that thing. And I've ordered a couple of times, and they come in and they're wrong. And so finally, I just gave up and ordered direct from circuit specialties. They're really expensive. They're like 3 or 4 times as much as where you can get them regularly. So anyway, I got those coming. So that was all for me.
Okay. And okay, we'll get back to your slot car as I see the track behind you. We'll talk about that later. Daniel, Danny, what were you up to this week?
Mainly work, and then this past weekend put together my son's bedroom, and then I decided to move all my slot car stuff from my desk to my closet, kind of like George. And so I have this nice little setup in my closet now to kind of keep my wife happy. So as far as slot car stuff, really it's just the desk that I did.
Pretty soon it's going to look like this, isn't it? I see you've started, so you can see all the crap that accumulates over time. Trust me.
I've got a little
get to that stage soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's starting to pile up some stock inventory
Yeah,
there.
it's looking good. I saw a picture of it earlier when you sent it to me. That's pretty cool. But it keeps
Yeah.
everything away. You just close the doors, and nobody knows what you're doing.
Yeah.
All
That's
right.
right.
Yeah. So for myself, obviously, I had the big celebrity up here, MP Slot Car Space, came on Wednesday.
Awesome.
We hung out. We had a good time. And he gave me a gift, and that led to the topic for this week. But yeah. And then, like I said, I bombed his live stream or his auction on Saturday, and I got 5 cars. So yeah, just my journey of buying cars continues. See Sundays in the chat here. He just got my list from Carrera of everything I want this year. So yeah, that's been my week pretty much. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Gerardo. Hey guys. There's lots of people in the chat. That's good. Thanks guys. Oh yeah, I also launched that giveaway this week as well. But yeah. All right. So Danny and Daniel. I'm gonna get that mixed up, but anyway. So welcome to this live stream. You guys jumped on. You asked me to jump on last week, and we're really happy that you're here. So we're gonna start with a little bit of history between the two of you, how you got into slot cars, and we'll start there. So, which one of you wants to start? Daniel, why don't you take it away?
All right. Let's see. Yep, I'm not muted. Yeah. Again, yeah. My name's Dan Wiley. I got into slot cars when I was 5. It was about 1971, so that'll kind of put an age on me. So I'm an old guy. So, and I believe it was like one of the first AFX tracks. So it was a Christmas gift. And we put that thing together. And I remember my dad and my uncle being in the floor, and they put this thing together, and they're like, well, this isn't big enough. So my uncle takes off. This is Christmas Day. He disappears and comes back with like 3 more sets.
Wow.
And we put all that together and had it running through the kitchen and the dining room and the living room. It was just everywhere. But so that was my start in slot cars. And then we moved on, did that for years and ended up moving to Arkansas and I in 76. And then I had a bunch of friends I met in Arkansas that were in slot cars, all the HO stuff. So did that up and through the 80s. And then I got in the service. And then the company I currently work for took me to Northern Indiana. So I ended up in one of the guys that worked at the same company I worked for was the maintenance guy. And he had a hobby shop in town and had a slot car track in the basement. So we're back at it again in the 90s. And then I'll let Danny talk a little bit about that if he wants to. So that was my start in there. And then I during COVID, I ran into one of Harry's videos. And that video was Jorg's Beach Racer. I think that was his first beach racer. You got that handy, Jorg? That's it right there. That was hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah.
Right there. I'm like, who's this Area 51 guy? And so I found his YouTube videos, and the rest is history. And I'll show you some of my cars a little bit later.
Hey guys, just a quick shout out. Boone Slot Car Garage is in the house, so thank you very much for coming in. Yeah. Sorry about that. Continue. Sorry I interrupted, but I just reached out to him today because we're talking about terrain and asked if he'd step in, and he did, and that was cool. Thanks a lot, guys. All right, so you saw George's Beach Racer, and that got you hooked. Are you a custom car builder, or you're still?
I'm scratch building. I've got several here. They're all work in progress. Right after that video, I reached out to Jorg a couple of times, and I got started, and I've got some health issues, and they kind of got in the way a little bit. In February of 21, I was diagnosed with Parkinson's, and so my tremors in the left side of my body got pretty severe. I wasn't taking any medication yet because I had a kidney transplant 10 years ago, so the medicines are very tricky with me on what I can take. So finally, they got me on some medication and settled my tremors down. And which I got started back on that beach racer. So that the intent was to do it for the 21 or the 22 beach race, which was moved to 2023. But I still didn't have enough time to get this thing finished. I'm really close though. So when we have another one, it'll be ready. And in the meantime, I've started on some other cars too. So I only have one Carrera car, which is a Aston Martin.
Nice.
GT3.
All right. Do you want to show some of your cars off?
Yeah, sure. I'm going to have to move this camera. I'm going to kind of block it so it doesn't make everybody dizzy.
No problems.
So there's the Aston Martin.
Yeah, that's a cool car. I have a bunch of them.
Holy smokes.
There's the beach.
Nice.
The beach race.
You've been busy.
Yeah,
look good.
It's so fast it blew the doors off.
Yeah. Is that your hot rod coming up? I like what you did to the rails there. You put holes in it.
Yeah, the chassis looks great.
That's a great freaking idea, man.
It's coming along.
I never thought of that. That's cool.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, all good.
There's a no bar drag Nova.
That is awesome.
Cool.
That's nice.
Outstanding.
My brother Dusty will like that one.
67 fastback. That's a 1/32 scale.
Nice.
Oh, I see all the model kits. You're getting in deep now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, there's.
Yeah, you know how that is. Go to Hobby Lobby. You'll come out with a model every time or two.
There's more behind me too.
Yeah.
So here's a 3D printed SRX. I like the SRX series. This is 1/32. This is off a guy on eBay prints those, and it's got a Pioneer CH 200642 chassis under it, which is a Camaro Mustang.
Torino.
This is another build. This is the Carrera Torino with a National Racers 3D printed chassis that'll take Carrera and slot it parts. They're from Portugal.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
And then that's the potential track.
Very good. What's your table size?
Sorry to interrupt.
Okay,
Is there any way to get a closer look at that hot rod? I'd like to see the hot rod a little bit closer. That looks cool how you did to the front, to the chassis.
Yeah, that layout currently, Marty, is 4x12. I'm going to go 6x14. But I'm like you. I'm also on the fence. I have a 4-lane Policar sitting in a cart right now.
Oh, the new starter set.
Yes.
Yeah. I saw that they start shipping on the 28th, I think.
1, 2,
I'm
3
really interested in
slots have them in stock.
Oh, the smaller of the two. That's cool.
No, the big
chassis. I like what he did with it.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, he put holes in it to simulate like a Swiss cheese chassis. That's a great job he did there. I never would have thought of that. That's excellent.
The holes, I got a little carried away. The holes, I thought I had them lined up. I used the calipers, but the drill walked on me.
That's fine. It's gonna go around the track, and nobody's fucking be looking at that. Trust me. That looks great, man. I like how you did
Yeah,
it.
well done.
Those wheels are pro slot. Yeah, ProTech with the big Paul Gage tires.
Yep. Yep. The 27 178, the big tires.
They're 30s, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. I have a set right here.
So George, you're the custom car builder. You probably have a lot more questions than we do. So
Yeah,
What was that?
that's good. That looks sharp.
you have a lot more questions than I would for those things. So do you have any specifics?
The beach racer, it's almost all ready. I just gotta paint it now. I took it all, I put it all together, then took it all apart. Gonna paint the chassis. The body's been all prepped. I just gotta. It's cold here, so can't spray outside.
Yeah, aerosol.
So
You didn't have to heat that.
I
Usually,
need
what
to buy
I do.
paint boots so I can do it in here. But
Usually, what I do is I get the can if it's really cold and stick it in hot water. Let it sit in there for like 15 minutes. Rattle it up. I've done it in the cold. You just got to do it fast. Airbrushing would be almost impossible doing the cold, especially with water-based paint. It doesn't like it. So.
All right. So Danny, take it away. How did you get into slots, and what is your journey like?
Well, I mean, obviously, I got into slot cars because of my dad. So I was in high school, and then the guy that my dad worked with had the hobby shop, and in the basement of the hobby shop, they had an oval HO track, and some of the guys there helped us out with some cars and controllers and stuff, and so we raced on Thursday nights. I'd get out of school, and Dad and I would go to dinner, and then we'd go over there and race slot cars for a couple hours a night on Thursdays. So I think that lasted a year or two, and then I got out of high school, joined the Army, in the Army for 8 years, and then I haven't messed with any slot cars until basically Dad started talking about it again, and I had dabbled with it a little bit, just mainly looking at stuff. And then he come this past Christmas with that HO track. So me and the kids, we've been messing with that, and Dad handed us a bunch of cars, so we messed with those. And then he started sending me pictures of his scratch built cars, and I was like, that looks like fun. So that's what I started doing, was doing the scratch built stuff. And I've got one fly car, a Skeltrex Camaro. I think that's all I've got as far as name brand cars, and the rest is what I've built, which is barely two.
Yeah. Well, just
So ahead of me.
And then I have the HO track upstairs that my dad had built us. Dad, what was that that layout called? Do you remember?
no.
Okay. it's certain layout, but anyway, so I do have a track, but it's HO scale. But as far as I don't know if I can turn this thing around, can I?
You should be able to. You did it when you were showing us your room.
Well, I went this way. I just turned the whole thing around. But anyway, so here is there it is. Get that position right. The fly car. I got it cheap on eBay. It was missing the spoiler on it, so I think I got the car for like $15. Okay. So, and then this right here is just I bought the body. I think I paid. That's a Carrera BMW, and I think I paid maybe $5 for it off of eBay. And then the Camaro. And then as far as scratch built, I think this is a Pioneer body. I bought the actual, like, the painted kit.
Okay.
And then I just took the body off of it and started making a scratch built chassis for it. And that was my first go at it, which is still not finished. And then for the hot rod series, this is my 32 Ford.
Nice.
So putting a Cummins in it.
Nice.
And then as far as the chassis, that's about it. That's where I'm at right now. It's just slow. I got a bunch of kids and wife and 2 dogs and stuff, so I take it when I can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's nice. It's really nice work.
Yeah.
Yeah, well done.
So me and Marty are starting. Well, we're trying to start our journey in custom car building. What would be the advice you'd give to new custom car builders? What's the first thing you suggest you learn?
Well, I think the first thing is just watch a lot of George's and Harry's videos. I mean, they're a great wealth of information, and just start out and then just dive into it. That's what I did. I have a good solder background, so I wasn't afraid of that. But there's nothing to, like, George has brought this up many times. Don't be afraid of that soldering iron. You might get burnt once in a while and touch the brass when it's still hot, but you won't do it again. But just dive into it and do it. One of the reasons why I got into this scratch building is, it was during COVID when all that went on, but it wasn't just COVID. It's and Dave brought this up. Dave Kennedy brought this up in his State of the Slot Car Union video the other night. Was men's mental health. For me, it's therapy.
Right.
I got all kinds of health issues and the Parkinson's, and what it's done is taken me away from the everyday being beat up on the telephone with computer problems. I deal with computer problems. I'm in the building automation industry, so it's very stressful. So this is my vent. The slot car, building the slot cars. Now it's still, I get frustrated sometimes and it creates the tremors, but I learn my boundaries. Okay, I don't need to do that. And if I go, then I pick up something else and do that. So I think it's important for your mental health, and for having hobbies, whether it's fishing or slot cars or anything. But yeah, you just grab it by the horns and just do it. Buy a few parts and pieces. Go to Slot Car Corner. It's a great website. Danny's got the banner in the background. George has usually got his in the background there too. But just go over there and you got the showdown link. Everything there you need, including the brass pieces. I get my brass local. I have a local Ace Hardware, so it makes it pretty easy. Oh, they have a good stock of it. So I can ramble on for hours, Raul, so cut me off when you.
Going back to what you were saying about getting frustrated, and I take this from that point of view, because I work in the field of diesel mechanics and refrigeration. If something that gets to the point where it gets frustrating, usually, and all mechanics do this, you just turn around and walk away. And usually when you come back after 5 or 10 minutes, you nail it. So that's what you need to do. And it can become frustrating when you're building stuff. Like tonight I was doing a little fabrication, trying to drill holes and trying to make it easy for the user when I do these videos to explain to them. So that takes a lot of time, and I had a couple of hits and misses. So it can get that way. You just got to walk away and then come back and start fresh.
Yep, exactly.
From what my dad had said, obviously watching the videos and whatnot, but I spent a lot of time on Google, Google Images and Pinterest, looking at pictures and trying to figure out what everybody did. There's all kinds of different types of scratch built chassis out there, and so there's several that I'd like to try to build, and just ideas that I have of myself. So definitely do that. Soldering, just like my dad, I kind of have a soldering background, mainly because just hobbies that I like to do. So I taught myself to solder, did some surface mount soldering a little bit and stuff. So, um, but the rest of it seems pretty easy. I mean, I get aggravated. I want to jump in and do all this crazy technical bending, and some of these chassis I see are super intricate, and I'm just not there yet. Kind of like a crawl, walk, run, and ready to run, but I haven't even walked.
Right.
Right.
There's a lot of several. So slot car corner, just so you guys know, for bending wires, which I just bought this. So this is what they have. It's a wire bender. So if you want to look into that in the tools section, and there is a Google link to how you use this, and it's pretty simple. And you can use pliers and stuff as well. I've used pliers just to bend stuff. But I'm going to try using this for a little bit more intricate stuff. And I know Shotgun Dave knows what I'm talking about because he's got something like this similar, and he knows to do a lot of the bending of the wire. But a lot of those jailhouse chassis, they call them, those ones take a little bit of time where, you get your wire and stuff. But you'll get there. You just got to experiment. That's what I do. I don't make a blueprint of a chassis. I just throw it together. I just
Yeah.
go on
That's the way I do it too. I get put it in my head and I just make it.
And also a lot of the kits that you see, you can mimic the chassis too, like on modifieds or like cars themselves, the plastic models. Just grab that chassis and you could actually duplicate it very easily. You got a model of it there. You just mimic the chassis itself, and you get yourself, a real realistic chassis.
Another idea.
Danny and I are rookies. I'm humbly honored to be here. There's Shotgun Dave here, and George is here, and there's some other scratch builders in here too. So we're just rookies, and it's just fun.
Not anymore. You guys look like you're building a lot, so it won't be rookies anymore. After the first or third car, you start really getting the groove. You're already on car number 5 there, so and then soon enough he'll be on car number 3. So I mean, it'll start flowing easily.
I was showing this earlier. Anybody know what this is?
Looks like a Holden or something.
It's a Datsun 510.
It's a Datsun. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a huge Datsun 510, and those bodies are hard to find. I think I got a Protect chassis coming for that, and there's ideas I have based on that chassis that I want to do for this one. So
that's cool.
Very nice. Marty, do you have any questions?
No, I'm just impressed, man. I can't wait to jump in and start building my own stuff because I watch what George does and Harry and all these other guys, Tim from TNT, and some of those cars.
Yeah.
So I noticed, like Danny, you have a white kit that you're starting from. Daniel, you starting from model kits. Which one do you think is easier of the two? Do you think the model kits, or would you take a white kit?
The white kit, I mean, the body itself is, the same as a model. I mean, you don't really have a chassis to look at or anything like that. But I think I like building the 1/24th scale stuff better than the 1/32nd or and 1/25th. But I don't think there's really much of a difference. Maybe if like a sidewinder or angle winder or something, you might have to cut out more on a model than you would if you were using an actual slot car chassis body. But it's really, I don't think it's much different. But I will say Dad had a bunch of models and stuff. I've got a few back there too.
Wow,
Okay.
you gotta.
So
you guys gonna see what I mean?
yeah.
So I left. I guess with the white kit, I guess you maybe not necessarily have an interior, but this beach racer I'm building, I left the interior. I'm doing the interior in it also. I just cut out where the motor slot is.
Yeah, that's exactly how a lot of other guys will do it. You could do that or do a tray interior. It just
Welcome back,
depends.
Marty.
You get more advanced. You could do cut the interior like that. I did that with I did a Smokey in the Bandit car, and I cut the interior, and I got a Burt Reynolds with a hat in it. That's how I did that one to get the motor to stay in there. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the
My
biggest thing. That's what really held that model up was the interior part of it. If I'd have just put a tray in it, I'd have had it in for the 20 for the beach race a few weeks ago.
my white kit did come with an
Interior.
interior. It's got a dash, seats, and all kinds of stuff with it. So I will have to change it because that chassis I don't think was inline like the scratch built one is. I don't
Yeah.
remember.
All right. Well, yeah. I mean, like I know Shotgun Dave was saying like me and Marty got to get started scratch building. I got most of the equipment. I actually got all the equipment. The main thing now is to get the hardware because I'm just having a little bit of a hard time sourcing that. But I will get there, and I am planning to get there. So that's definitely going to happen. What about you, Marty? Where are you at?
I think I'm all set up. I have most of the equipment I need. I need the jeweler's soldering tray or the jig. So I need to pick that up. So I'll probably get that this week on order. I have a soldering iron and then just some supplies. So I've been to Hobby Lobby a couple times. I haven't left with a model yet because I can't decide. I'm too indecisive when it comes to slot car stuff.
Yeah, wait till they're on sale. I think it's it's every other week. I think it's this week, 40% off.
40% off.
All right,
We
guys,
saw
I gotta
the
go.
five-
I'm gonna
we
go to
saw
Hobby
the
Lobby.
We saw the Datsun you put up. That's nice, Danny.
Yeah,
Danny.
the problem with this is a 1/24th. This is 1/24th scale, but it's way too big. This is from an RC car,
Mhm.
and so it may not show up on camera, but you know this is 1/25th. This 56 Victoria, and the Datsun is bigger than it.
Yeah,
So
1/24th. It's a larger car. It's dimensionally, if you look at both of them, 1/25th is to me, it's more of a realistic to scale than 1/24th. Nothing against 1/24th cars. We got a bunch of them in Carrera, but they are the 1/25th there are more kits for that, and then with 1/32nd you have the 3D bodies, and then you have resin bodies, which you could do your own resin body. It's you just need the right materials and a mold, a master mold. What you do is you pour the resin over that, and that's your master mold, and then you could actually form a body in 30 minutes. Harry did it right in front of my eyes. That Ford that I sent, that was done in 30 minutes. He poured it, smacked it together, and in 30 minutes I had a body. So it's possible to do
Yeah,
in
one of these
1/32nd.
days
There's
I'm
just
gonna
not as
try
many
that.
kits.
Yeah, I want to try that too. Making molds.
Dave does it. Shotgun Dave does molds. He can tell you.
All
I bought a airbrush. I got 2 airbrushes now. I haven't done anything with it yet, but here soon I'll be trying airbrushing.
All right.
Nice. How many of you actually use an airbrush to do your painting right now?
What was that?
How many of you actually use the airbrush to do all your detail work on the cars?
I do.
Yeah.
On some of them, I use got it right here. I use the Pro Convoy Krios. I like it. It's a 0.5, and I like the tip because it's actually like a fanning tip. Let me get it. I got it right here. I can show you. Oh, and it's right now. They have it.
Yeah, I'm a rattle can mine. I'm not ready for that yet.
And this has got, see how the tip is? It's kind of like a fanning tip. so it disperses it more openly. So I like this one for those models because it lays more paint. Whereas the other ones like a point 0.3 and stuff, those are like really small, fine details. You can use a point 0.3 if you want, but it won't spray. I think it won't cover as much as this one does. But and I like the trigger action it has on it. So that's the preferred one I use. But there's a lot of airbrushes out there. Just depends what you're more comfortable with. Spraygunner.com. That's the one where they're on Amazon as well, but they sell a lot of the Createx paints, and they sell a lot of airbrush stuff. Man, they got a ton of it. So they got different brands and everything. So spraygunner.com is a good place to go to for Createx and airbrush painting and stuff like that.
Cool. And now when it comes to painting your slot cars, so I come from wargaming, so obviously the point 0.3s is what we use a lot.
Yeah.
And we use even finer than this. I think I have a 0.2 and a 0.15. But what kind of paints do you guys use when it comes to slot cars? Like we use Tamiya acrylics, right? A lot, or sorry, not Tamiya, Vallejo acrylics a lot for terrain and all of that, which is something we're going to discuss a bit later today. But what kind of paints do you guys use? I know a lot of model builders use Tamiya paint to spray their cars because I guess Tamiya is like it's standard in the RC community. We use a lot of Tamiya paint to do all our bodies, like our Lexan bodies were all sprayed in Tamiya paint. But when it comes to slot cars, what do you recommend?
Well, I'm not sure about if I'm good enough yet to recommend anything, but I'm just going to use Rust-Oleum for these first two cars. But I think when I go airbrush, I think I'm going to get in the Vallejo camp.
Right. Yeah, Vallejo makes a really good airbrush paint, especially their metallics. I find their metallics are really, really good. But you need to get a spray boot to spray metallics indoors, which is where I spray. So, yeah, pretty cool. Is there anything else, Marty, you wanted to ask? Or Dan, if you guys want to share anything else, let us know. Otherwise, we're going to go on to our terrain topic today, I guess.
Well, I want to bring up one more thing. I mentioned the kidney transplant earlier. So Danny and I kind of have a special bond. He was my donor.
Oh
wow.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
That's awesome.
So he was on his way to his second tour in Afghanistan when I called, and the Red Cross called and got him to Fort Worth to get tested, to get matched, and we're an identical match.
oh,
That's great.
Yep.
we're really happy that you're feeling better. Hopefully, everything goes well. Thank you for showing up to the live stream tonight. It was really a pleasure, an honor. And it was great to have you guys on. We're going to talk probably about terrain in a very general way tonight. Yeah, so if there's nothing else that you guys want to talk about, we'll just go into the terrain portion of this segment now. And the reason that we want to talk about terrain, actually, and the reason I brought it up was something that, Marty and me had talked about very recently. A lot of really cool slot car tracks are out there, and a lot of people build in terrain into their slot car tracks because they're more permanent. But when it comes to myself and Marty, we build very flexible or constantly changing tracks. So I like to change my main racing track every 2 to 3 months. So it's very hard to build like custom scenery for the tracks. And something that we had talked about and actually came up last time was building like little diorama sets for slot cars, right? And so what I wanted to put forward was like, how do you go about starting that up? What's the process? And where do we go from there, right? So Marty, you talked about creating a diorama first. So do you want to take what would be the steps that you would go about doing?
Yeah, I've been watching a lot of Boone's videos just to see how he adds things. One of them was building guardrail. I dislike the guardrail that I deal with the Carrera track, and so I'm always looking for better guardrail and improvement there. But from a diorama standpoint, I think I'm going to start with maybe a scene from Le Mans, or some racetrack. Probably look at ordering some of the racetrack scenic stuff, and just build a small diorama, maybe, I don't know, 2 feet by maybe 2 by 2 or 2 by 3, that I can get about 4 or 5 camera angles in, because I really want the diorama for photographing my cars for my channel. So that's what I'm trying to get done. So I think that if I start with something small like that and learn how to create the scenery and create a backdrop, and then be able to light it well for photography. So that's my end goal, my end game. It's just so I can have better photography of my cars.
Okay. And have you started that process or no?
I have started collecting some things, and then I've got to place an order with Racetrack Scenics. They actually sent an email today with like a 20% off, so it came at the right time. I'm filling up my cart there so I can get some pieces ordered. Mainly a couple billboards, and I really love Drip, the SO Man, and so
Right.
I think he will be part of it. So I'm leaning towards kind of like that paddock area of Le Mans, or so that type of scene.
Yeah.
So
So
it will be themed.
yeah, that's good. That's good. Slot Journal says, like, if you change your track, you can build modular scenery. Now, I'm building a Lego city with a 143rd Carrera, and it's definitely modular. And that's what got me thinking when you brought that up about doing a photo mod, diorama. It kind of got me thinking about modular terrain as well. Because the
Yeah.
standard setup for Carrera tracks, the turns don't change. There's standard turns, and unless you're doing like a lot of very complicated S turns, that's when you get to do custom terrain. But you could do like one-off buildings and have them placed on the track, like a lot of us do. I've seen that a lot, right?
Boone said
Hey, look who's
just add a
here.
1/4 inch board. Works great. That's what Boone says. Boone's garage.
Yeah. So we gotta. Let's see. MP Slotcar Space might join us, so he's jumping in and out. Yeah. So what got me going is that when like I said, I come from a background of wargaming, and we used to build dioramas all the time, because every time you go to a tournament and you create an army, we had to present the army on a display board. So you had to build out a whole theme for your army, and you got points awarded to it. So I got really accustomed to building dioramas. And when yeah, Boone says you might come on. Okay,
Yeah,
so
bring Boone on. He knows more about that than we do.
Right.
He probably has some good insights on what to do.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so
Yeah, if
let
you need me to
just
drop
respond.
off, I could just jump out and moderate if you need me to.
Same here.
Yeah.
Danny and I can jump out too if we need to. We can just watch.
Yeah, so I'm gonna make space and probably get Boone on and MP Slotcars on. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on board.
Hey guys, it was great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna
thank you
bring
for
it
your
was awesome.
service, by the way. Appreciate
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it was
We
great.
appreciate
It was awesome.
Thank you so much,
building.
guys. All right, take care.
See you.
See ya.
All right, and let me see.
Those guys are great.
I sent Boone a link. Let's see if he can come on. And MP's having a little bit of issues, but anyway, yeah. So, I sent you like images of what I was doing, but like when it comes to terrain, I think, like you said, you start with a theme, right?
Yeah, that's my plan.
Sorry, I'm just trying to bring Boone on, guys. Give me
Okay,
1 second
no worries.
here.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of room on my table to put a lot of scenery,
Yeah.
mainly because it tends to get in the way of marshaling. But I do like the idea of doing some modular stuff, so that you can move it if you need to, if you're hosting a race night or something.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I think being able to create like little modules of terrain is really a great way to do it, and definitely something I'm looking into. But I think the basics of terrain building is something that we want to talk about today. Maybe go through some of the materials that you need. Maybe we'll talk about where we can get some of the cool scenics and stuff like that. I think that's probably really important. But also, sometimes terrain doesn't have to be as complicated as you want it to be. Because I was looking at like Sunday Stock Cars, they do paper terrain, and it's simple, but it makes a really good impression anyway. I've seen some of the videos, the terrain, it kind of gathers attention. The yellow paper on the track was amazing, in that it really brought the track to life. Whether it wasn't as complex, but I believe that it's.
Yeah, I love that they recreate like video game tracks. I think that's fun.
And then I was trying to send him the link. It's in the chat. So Boone, if you're in the chat, there's a eCam link that I sent in the chat on Facebook. So if you just click that, you'll be able to dial into the stream. If you call me from FaceTime, it won't come into the stream. So let me know if you can do that, and I will try and accommodate. Sorry guys, we're doing this live, so sometimes these things happen. Yeah, so something that I was doing right now was, as you know, I have my own laser cutter, and something that I did before was actually cut my own gantries. So, whoops. There we go. Boone's in. Hey Boone, how are you?
Good. Am I on with you guys?
You are.
Yeah.
You are. You're
Welcome,
live.
Boone.
All right.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys
here.
are having so much fun. I just had to get on with you.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, yeah, we're talking about terrain. Like, we're very, I guess, we're new to the slot car world of terrain. I come from wargaming, so I have a little bit of terrain background from wargaming, but not in the slot car world. So, something that something that Marty and I had discussed was sometimes taking a look at a track can be very overwhelming. There's just a lot of area that you got to cover, and there's a lot of great tracks out there, yours included, that can intimidate because there's so much to do, right? And you look at it. But Marty came up with a good idea the other day about creating dioramas, little small dioramas to get your feet wet and get going. And like I was saying, because I came from a wargaming background, that I can understand. I can get around that, and it kind of made it very simple now for me to kind of look at terrain. So
Right.
it's a different way to approach terrain, and I think it's important for us to talk about it because sometimes, like I said, it can get overwhelming. But
It's it's a big thing when you start looking at it all at one piece. The best way to do it is just take little baby steps into it and just start. It's like collecting your slot cars. You know, you don't go out and buy 100 slot cars at one. Well, I wish I could, but can't. But I mean, it's same thing with building your table or anything else. You just kind of chip away at it and stuff like that. It's like Marty was saying, he's got that vision of Le Mans in the back of his head. It's
Yeah.
just
Right.
in those ideas and start putting them together. But I mean, you can do it in such a way where you don't have to make a permanent scenery section. You can build it on like 1/4-inch plywood or like MDF,
yeah,
and then you can set those pieces in there. You could have, modular pieces and then just set those in.
yeah. So one thing that we do a lot in the wargaming world is we work with pink foam, right?
Yep.
It's sometimes the easiest thing to work with. Like this is pink foam. I don't know if you can see in my camera, but it's pink foam. And when we use hot wire cutters to cut them into shapes, like this is a simple hill because we use a lot of hills and terrain in wargaming. And then we cut it out with the wire cutters and then we paint them, right? Dry brush, apply with static grass. And this is the same concept that you bring into the slot car world anyway. It's just the figures are different. The kind of weathering is maybe a bit different, but I think the basics are the same. So something that I have a laser cutter, and one thing that we're having trouble with here is obviously shipping into Canada. So I'd love to go and buy a race car Scenics. I'd love to go and buy magnetic racing, but it gets really pricey. So I started cutting my own, gantries and stuff out of my laser cutter. And the problem was I never got to finish them because I wasn't sure if it was right,
Right.
But recently MP Slot Car Space came over and he brought me a magnetic racing's gantry, right? And I put it together because obviously it was something that I really wanted to do. And I noticed that my gantry is not that far off, actually. It's pretty close, right? So now I have a little bit more confidence. But from this, it becomes very easy for me to build a diorama. And I think, Marty, I showed you some pictures today of me trying to assemble. So basically what I did was I took a 2 feet by 3 foot pink insulation foam section, and I put the track on and kind of put the sign on there, and I decided to create a diorama, right? And it becomes a little bit simpler for me. But, and that's what we're trying to discuss, I guess, today. And then the steps to go from there, right? So any insight from you would be really helpful.
Well, a lot of our corners and everything are going to stay the same dimension if you start, building a different track. So just those portions alone, you can actually create little dioramas that can just fit right in the inside of a corner or maybe on the outside of a corner. Pit lanes are real easy because it's just a straight piece of track and you can just go ahead and set that right in there.
Right.
So as far as that stuff goes, I mean, this is something I just built for just some photographs and some stuff coming up on a future video, but even, let's see here. Can you see it? There you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Even just that alone, kind of gives you an idea of different things that you could do, So.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm wanting to build.
Yeah, and
Fantastic.
it's great. It's little. You can pack it off to the side, and at the same point in time, you can create some really cool pictures. So. And that's
I love it.
Got an MDF router, 2 lines in it, and threw some foam and some grass and some guardrail and some crash fence, and there you go.
Yeah, fantastic.
So fun stuff.
Yeah, that looks great. And then you can actually work all kinds of angles for the photography piece in there.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to move around the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. You could take it outside, like on on a nice day, and have the backdrop of some trees or whatnot, and with the right angle, I mean, you'd swear you were there.
There's a kid on Facebook that does that, where he gets model cars and he imposes the background. They look really cool, so that's what you're talking about.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they kind of pan out, and you see he's just working off a little table. It's just
so this is what I was doing today. Was I took that gantry that I got, and I started to put down a piece of track and try to lay out like what I want to kind of create this diorama. You can see that this is the white, this is the pink insulation foam board, and it's trying kind of doing the same idea, I think. It's just to start there, and then luckily for me, I like airbrushing, so that kind of eliminates one process for me, and it's a lot of fun, and I have a big airbrush station, so that's the easy part for me. But I think a lot of people struggle with the airbrush as well, but you don't have to start with airbrushing. You can just start with a paint, just regular paint and brush, and get started. Learning dry brushing is the best technique ever for terrain, I always find. But I know that a lot of questions were asked about airbrushing on my Facebook Messenger. A lot of people were asking about airbrushing. How do we go about starting airbrushing? What do you recommend?
Well, airbrushing is a huge thing all by itself. Like I mean, you can spend anywhere from $25 airbrush all the way up to $400 if you're getting into the Iwatas or something like that. For the scenery and stuff, just the basic airbrush kit really is all you need. You don't need any of those really high end, right? And just using just acrylics. I mean, you can go down and they have I'll be right back. I really like this stuff to airbrush with, the golden.
Okay.
It's not terribly expensive, but it's a good product. You just thin it down a little bit, and it covers real nice and everything else. But just again, just kind of taking baby steps with it and get used to it. But airbrushing scenery is real easy to do. Real easy to do. In fact, I need to start doing some more videos on that type of thing as well. Just kind of bridge it out a little bit more. But just basic acrylics and just like a starter type of airbrush. And I mean, you're off and rolling.
Yeah, I know Citadel in Games Workshop, the Citadel product comes out with a can. It's an airbrush with a can connected to a can. So you're not really buying an airbrush. It's just it's like a throwaway kit. And I think it's a good way to start. But I also think the best way to start is actually rattle cans. So we do something called zenithal highlighting. I don't know if that's something in that you're familiar with. But we do zenithal on everything that we do from a war game perspective. That means running 3 colors. You do your black, your gray, and your white. And it's just about holding a model and shooting. So you take a model, let's just say we take this gantry, and we'll spray it all black. And then we'll take the gray and pull it at 45 and spray at 45 all the way around. And then we'll take the white and spray top down, like 90 degrees top down onto this model and spray the white. And what that does, it automatically gives you all your shadows and your highlights. And then all you have to do is you have to take a thin layer of paint and you just either spray it on and most likely just paint it on. So very thin layers, and it automatically picks up all the highlights and the shadows, and you get this weathered effect very easily.
That's cool.
And then on top of that, what we do is then we just use a wash. So like normally, I know we use Stynylrez here. Instead of rattle cans for black, we use Stynylrez to paint the black down. And then we'll use Vallejo paint, right? Like I use Vallejo to do all the highlights. So you do a Vallejo gray and then a Vallejo white, and then you spray the color that you want. And we use something called contrast paints. So contrast paints have a very unique property in that when you put them on, they automatically go pull to the recesses. So they leave your highlights as highlights and pull into recesses automatically. They are shrinking paint. And then on top of that, we just use a wash. So this is a very diluted wash that you put on, and it gives you that weathered look.
Yellow.
That's how. Yeah. You drop off. I think Boone froze.
I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, so that's like how we do airbrushing, and I think it's the same process.
He dropped off.
Yeah.
See if he can reconnect again.
We lost connection.
Yeah, if you click the link, you can come back in. But yeah, it's interesting because I really got this. I got the terrain bug again, so I'm gonna build this diorama real quick. There we go.
Bob Ross.
That's cool.
There you go.
I'm excited about getting started now. Just seeing just seeing Boone's little scene there. That's got me excited about building something.
Yeah, and then also having fun with different materials. Something that we do a lot of is work with cork. I don't know if you can see this, but this is all cork. This is just regular run-of-the-mill cork board that we buy and we shatter it into pieces. And what it does, it creates rock formations. Very easy way to making rock formations real quick. So
Chinese
that's
balloon interference.
Billy.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean it's going to be very exciting. Like I'm super excited to do this. I pulled up my paint station. I'm all ready to go, Marty. So
Oh boy.
I was not feeling very confident about building something, but I've got a shot in the arm to get started.
yeah, I think the first thing you do is just pick up a kit, like an MDF kit, to start. Like maybe pick up the gantry or pick up the whatever kit you want. So I wanted to pick up the big, the grandstand, the circular grandstand.
Oh yeah.
And build like a winner circle out of that.
There you are.
Hey,
A lot
Boone, you're back.
His signal's better. You can tell.
I don't know
Uh-oh.
what's
Um,
happening.
yeah. Connection issues.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think like Marty, like you just pick up a kit. Like I started with the gantry, but I don't know if that's where I'll end up. But I probably build a whole scene like with a grandstand. I do want to paint like a whole bunch of the little minifigures because that's something I really want to do. But the first question was, where do you find them? And so I've been trying and experimenting and 3D printing my own little guys here.
Yeah.
But it's an endeavor, right? But I think terrain building is about having fun and mixing materials and just experimenting. That's the way I look at it. But
I mean, there's really no wrong way to do it. You just let your imagination go, and
yeah,
just
That's
have fun.
what scratch building is.
Yeah.
Let your imagination go.
Yeah, just let it go.
Yeah, and there's so many cool products now. Like back in when I started wargaming, there wasn't any of this really like intricate static grass. Like this looks like daisies. Like you can just pick up packs like this and they're ready just to stick down. So you don't really have to create anything. So it's like really interesting the amount of product that we have availability to now as opposed to when I started. It's just sand and static grass. And even the static grass was not even real static grass. It was just like a powdered form of grass, I remember. But now there's just so much, there's different grasses available. Woodland Scenics is crazy good for this stuff. And
Yeah, there's so many companies producing stuff now. It's unreal. I mean, you can, I mean, between the trees, the bushes, flowers, I mean, all sorts of different stuff now. It's amazing.
yeah,
What's driving that, Boone? All this new stuff that's available.
You know, that I don't know. I think it's wargaming that's really pushing everything. Wargaming
Okay.
is really huge. And
yeah,
you know, unfortunately it's not the slot car market and it's not the train guys. I really think it's the wargaming that's the tip of the spear right now.
So we're just
Yeah.
taking advantage of that from the
We
slot car
are.
industry.
yeah. And then that's been like the biggest problem for me is finding the models for the slot car industry, right? Because in wargaming, I can go down the street to my hobby store and pick up a whole set of like futuristic marines or whatever I want. But to go and
Right.
find a photographer, to go find a camera person, to go find a reporter, that's not gonna happen easy. So yeah, getting that stuff is a little bit difficult.
Yeah, that's where the 3D printing comes in. You know,
Yeah.
really. I mean, otherwise, I mean, yeah, you can go online, you can find the figures, but I mean, well, say you get one of those new racetrack scenics grandstands, one of those huge ones, you
Yeah.
know, and I mean, you got a lot of money in figures if you're going to put
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
every piece, you know. So that's where that 3D printer can really start to really pay for itself. You know, I have that discussion with a lot of people all the time. They're like, well, where do you find figures or what, you know, this? And I say, you know, you ever looked at 3D printing? Because by the time you start printing off some figures, and you know, some of these figures can cost you quite a bit. I mean, it doesn't take long, and all of a sudden you're matching the price of an entry 3D printer.
So
You
here's
know,
the challenge though with 3D printing, because like I have a 3D printing farm that I can print with, but the main problem that we're having is finding the models. So once again, it's easy to have a 3D printer, but finding the model that works for grandstands is not as simple as it looks. So you actually,
no,
yeah,
you have to be selective with how you look them up.
yeah,
I mean, you got to, you know, like if you're looking for, say, a cameraman or something like that, you don't put in, say, slot car cameraman or
yeah,
you know, race. You just put in camera guy, and all of a sudden you'll have all this stuff pop up. You know, if you want a seated figure, you know, you put in seated figure,
yeah,
you know, and then they'll start coming back up. And
yeah,
you know, and then some guys will get kind of discouraged because it'll come through and maybe it's a different scale. But
yeah.
with a 3D printer, you can go into your slicer then, and then you can go ahead and resize it to the scale that you want.
Yeah,
So,
and that's been the challenge. We've been working on it. Like,
yeah.
been what we did. I bought a set of the Carrera figures and used them as a scale reference to get
Yep.
my figures down to size. But
Right.
it's also been a challenge just finding figures in general. So getting the right 3D model, and then sometimes when you scale the 3D model, it breaks because it's
Yep.
not meant to scale. So
Right.
we're having those issues as well, because when it comes down to a 1/32 size, like this is not 1/32, it's too big.
Right.
So when it comes down to 1/32, it gets even crazier because the models break. They don't hold when we print. So these has been the challenges that we've been having with 3D printing. But
Right.
yeah. But yeah, it's a challenge, but it's a fun challenge. I've also looked at just doing silhouettes, just doing like cutout silhouettes out of MDF, and then using stickers to stick on different poses. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, back in the day when you used to do those stadium football like games, you used to have these like little pop up, like, like when you go to a pop up store, you have a pop up display made of corrugate of a cutout. I was thinking about doing stuff like that just to fill up stands. Right.
That's a good idea too. I mean,
Yeah.
that would work.
And that's easy to replicate because you just find the pictures on stock library, download it, cut them up into stickers, and
Yep.
paste them on MDF and just stick them in. Because at the end
Just
of the day, you don't
yeah.
have to 3D model it. You just have to shoot in the direction, right? Yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So
Well, that's a good idea.
yeah, Marty, when are you gonna get your diorama done?
Marty needs a 3D printer. Don't
I
you
keep
get
running
custom
down these
supplies?
huge rabbit holes. So I have a question for Boone, since it's on here. I saw in one of your videos you just recently moved.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to move your entire setup? How
The
big of a
entire
job was that?
that was intense.
I bet.
It's one of those things where it was kind of like, should I do it? Should I not do it? And then, Travis, that slot car guy, I talk with him quite a bit, and he's telling me, he goes, you have to do it. You can't leave it. And I'm like, so, and then I kind of put it out there, and everyone was kind of, you have to do it. You have to do it. So it's like, okay. So I was surprised, I didn't see the layout for 4 months, 5 months. And I didn't know what to expect when it showed up. I mean,
Yeah.
the truck couldn't even make it down our road because we live kind of down this country road. And so we ended up having to drop the layout on the street a mile away from the house. And then we put dollies, we put dollies underneath it. And it's, it's in the middle of the night too. So it's pitch black. And we find this guy that has this little Toyota pickup. So we get this Toyota pickup. We have all these dollies and stuff underneath it, and we're driving this layout down the road to the house. It's just like, oh my God, if anything goes wrong, But no, it made it in here, and
Nice.
it was amazing. I mean, there's some damage to it, but not nearly as much as I thought. In fact, my HO layout took more damage than Deception did. So
Really? Wow.
yeah, but no, it was okay. I mean, it's here. I mean, it's there, but it's
it's fantastic.
It's going to take a little bit to resurrect it to its once glory, but it's fun,
Yeah, Marty, you're gonna have to save up for a 3D printer
I've
now.
had to do that too. That's kind of like you got to take it all apart. Then I had to number everything back on the wood so I know where it went. Because I have to remember the lesson. So put it in the truck and then everything in boxes. And so I did a video when I took everything apart and put it together. It's like it took me like about 2.5 weeks to get everything back where I needed to, where it was. And it isn't exactly the same as the old one, just a little bit more bare. But it took a while. But I can imagine what you went through was worse.
Yeah, well, I had to slice.
In the middle of the night.
I had to slice 2 feet off the one end of it. So a whole entire side, I had to slice the whole entire side off because I started measuring it in the garage I was at. When I put it up on end, it was too tall. I mean, I couldn't get it through the door opening outside the garage. So I had to take 2 feet off of it. And even then we had to tilt it over to get it out, but it made it. So
yeah, I wondered how many scenes like that get left behind with the selling of a house, like model railroads and things like that, where people just don't even know where to begin to take them apart. So they just
it was, and it was kind of that was the other thing too. It's because, there's a lot of people moving around and that type of stuff, and it's like, if I can move this layout, then any layout can be moved, So it was kind of like one of those things too. It's like, okay, if I can do this and I can pull it off, then that next guy that's like, I got to move, but I got my track, he might see that and go, his layout was bigger than mine and he did it. So I know I can do it.
Right. Yeah.
So what the heck?
Yeah. Somebody, Patrick in the chat asked, Boone, do you wish you would have built a new layout or maybe just switch track brands or anything like that? Did you think about that?
I thought about that. A lot of the layout actually is going to get changed anyway. The lower part of the table, I mean, there's only going to be a small portion of it that's going to be the same. So kind of back and forth on that one. I thought of maybe changing and going with Carrera or something at one time, but I do like the Scalextric for the mere fact that it doesn't take as large of a footprint,
Space. Yeah.
you know, the space. And then the other thing is too, is that I can run digital and analog on a Scalextric track with just the flip of a switch. Where
Yeah.
I know the guys with Carrera, if you're digital, unless you get a whole entire power base to plug in there. And that was kind of the nice versatility with it. I'm tinkering with the idea of creating a wood router track. And I'm also thinking about making a garden track as well. And if I do a garden track, there's a good case that I probably will be looking at the Carrera track because of the stainless rails.
Right.
So, that's, all sorts of different plans that, I have banging around inside my head. So the idea, I got plenty of ideas. It's just, I got to find the time to do all this stuff,
Right.
So that's the hardest part. I only get 24 hours a day.
Yeah. Oh, Marty wants to go full lanes on his track.
Yeah. I'm considering it. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw this track the other.
It's expensive to add.
Well,
Yeah.
I still have to build up here too. So I mean,
Did you guys see this this video of the track where they actually put a crossover and cars ran head to head against each other with the crossover in the middle? It's the middle of the track is 4 lanes wide, but there's a crossover where they come back against each other. Yeah, that was wild. I thought that was really wild.
Yeah, they had some carnage on that clip too.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah, what I need for my Lego track. Because my Lego track is built for carnage. That's all it's made for. 1,000 frames per second of things exploding. That's all I want.
Yeah, I always thought it'd be fun, like a car made out of like aluminum foil or something like that. Make like a basher series, So you have a crossover like that, and they hit each other and they take on damage, and it'd be kind of cool.
Oh yeah.
I think
paper bodies. I don't know. They had a video on that.
Yeah, that
paper
Saga guy
bodies.
released that. Yeah.
Do that.
Yeah.
No, Lego explodes. It's good enough. And the good thing about 140/30 is that they have that the 4-lane crossovers. So like it's junctions. So it's meant to have some carnage.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah. Anything else you want to? Well, we have Boone in the house, so you guys want to ask about terrain? I think Boone is. We need to ask him now.
That's right. Take advantage of him being here.
Yeah. I don't have a chat feed, so I'm just.
You should be able to if you flip your phone and think, oh, maybe not. I don't know on the phone.
Unless he turns it on.
I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah, we don't. Well, we're putting up the chat. Whoever's asking questions, just put it up live here.
It's Sunday.
Sunday says, I have a 4-lane Carrera can be done with a bridge fairly comfortably on a 5-foot table. That's with shoulders. Sunday loves shoulders. I know this. The other day I was talking. Well, you remember the guest we had last week, and he was telling me how he MDF cut all his shoulders because obviously Carrera shoulders can be pretty pricey, and he did a really good job on his. I was actually he sent me photographs. I gotta find those and put them up next week for sure of his track.
Yeah, that's the way I do shoulders on my track is with MDF, and works great.
Yeah, so for MDF, when you cut it, do you use a jigsaw or what? Do you have a router?
No, I use a jigsaw when I do it, and then I'll just go ahead and hand sand, the contour a little bit more, just so it has a nice fit up against it. But really,
yeah. My problem is that I change my layout too often. I'm only 1 year in, Boone, and I've already changed the layout 7 or 8 times. Mostly just expanding.
Right.
I started on, it just you get more track and you just want to expand. My table is 8 foot by 24 feet, so I've got some room to work.
just keeps on growing.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You get to
George,
that.
George, you've done a lot of work with the LED lights. Boone, do you do a lot of work with lights as well, lighting?
Yeah, lighting. I've done a few videos on that. Yeah, lighting's a whole different animal all by itself. I mean, again, you have all sorts of different things that are coming up on the market that, you can do your wiring style with, just using your own circuit board and your own little, peanut bulbs with it, all the way up to the Woodland Scenics where they have the just plug system, which is a really cool way to go. But
Yeah.
you start lights to that thing and modules, and it starts to add up pretty quick. So,
Yeah,
Yeah, on mine, on the lights on Area 51 are the racetracks, or the, excuse me, what you said, the Woodland one, and it's a
yeah,
switch, and it goes
okay.
to junction blocks. At the time, it wasn't so bad. Now it's probably more expensive, but a lot of the lights that I have are from Evans Train Designs, which is
mm-hmm,
those guys' model train software. That guy is, I like his lights because they use a bridge recidifier. The bridge
yeah,
recidifier ranges from I think 6 to 19 volts, and it doesn't
mm,
matter what polarity you put it at. You just hook them up to the power and they come on, and they make
right,
some really super tiny lights too. And I've
yeah,
used them in cars, like the F1 cars that I have on Carrera. I have like two of them. The red lights flash in the back like they do on the track. So I mean, there's a lot of companies out there besides them that you could do a lot of stuff to. So
yeah,
it's endless. The
Yeah, I know.
technology is so different now.
Yeah,
yeah,
with a lot of the Lego stuff, they now do the LED to USB. So you just you get these strings of LEDs and you just plug them into USB power block or a charger, and it lights up. And you can get, and then I think the USB has little buttons, and you click on it, and it gets all these different features. Um, so Stuart asked, can you recommend a good lighting method for taking photos of dioramas?
as far as with the lighting over the top of it, as far
Hey,
as getting
Yeah, I
shooting,
think that's what he's referring to. Yeah.
um
Photography
actually,
lights.
yeah, I mean, I actually use just a desktop light. Let me go find it. I'll be right back.
That's not
hey,
very
MP's
expensive.
there.
Hey, is this thing on?
Yeah, you're
Yes,
on.
it
You're
is.
on. You're on.
Hey,
Oh no!
finally.
Awesome.
Possible.
There he is,
Yeah.
Booney.
Hey,
Hey,
that's very
man.
simple.
So
What's
yeah,
up, everybody?
Light.
yeah, I
So it's
do
like
this.
yeah. Oh damn.
Oh,
That's
you
very
use that?
simple.
Yeah, works
Yeah.
great. And you can direct it around and get the actual, shadowing and everything else that you want to get with it. Works really good.
Yeah, I think even just something simple like if you just want an LED light, you can pick these up from Amazon. They're really cheap, like 20
Yeah,
bucks or something, and they're really good
yeah,
because they're by color, and you can focus them onto whatever Kelvin you want. So yeah,
right.
it's a good thing.
Work.
Yeah, MP.
I
We're talking
built.
about terrain, dude, and you've
Great.
done a lot of work with the spray foam stuff. I know Boone done that a lot too. But what's
All my ideas came from Booney.
yeah,
Well,
There you
He's my
go.
mentor.
yeah. So yeah, I haven't worked with spray foam. What foam do you guys use? Like, I know, like, okay, in the States you guys pull up a lot of products, but we can't get them here. So MP, I'm going to direct this to you because you know how it is. What are you using for your spray foam?
I'm using the great stuff, but I remember Boone telling me to get the Loctite one, which I could not find here.
Yeah,
yeah,
The great stuff, it is what it is. Like you said, it's not the greatest, but you can make it work.
okay.
But
hmm
yeah, I just could not find the Loctite here. I guess we just don't carry it.
yeah,
Yeah, it
yeah.
sucks.
Loctite's really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hate talking about stuff, and then these guys say, "Well, we can't get it in Canada." I'm like, God,
I know.
Yeah,
I
George.
don't like mentioning anything anymore.
You know
Sometimes
what?
people are trying
We
to
have
go,
other
"Hey, you
Loctite
can get
products,
this,"
just not
and
that.
then it's like,
Yeah,
"Well, the shipping would be too expensive." I was like, "Oh crap, never mind." I feel dejected afterwards. I
Yeah.
love the guy.
Yeah, it was shipping is another issue
Yeah.
that we have. Um,
Damn that Trudeau.
so yeah, so MP, you painted your track, right? What do
Yeah,
you use for?
halfway.
Well, yeah, but you painted it. So what do you use for paint? To paint the track?
I'm just doing it like quick and dirty. I've been using the Rust-Oleum primer,
Okay.
the gray primer. So I hit it with a little bit of sandpaper, clean it with some alcohol, spray it 1 or 2 coats, then I weather it. As
Okay.
for grip, it's not going to really add any grip. I'm just doing it for aesthetic purposes. But I guess if you want grip, and Boone can correct me on this, I assume you need like a high latex kind of paint, something with a lot of latex in it, or
Not necessarily. If you did
no?
the with your Krylon that you're using, and then you just go ahead and for your kind of the grainy effect for it, so you can get the whites and the black in there, you just
Okay.
do a drop coat on the top of that, so it kind of mists over the top, and those little granules will actually create a grip surface. Will actually improve the grip of the track that way.
Okay, good to know.
Yeah.
Oh,
So I mean, I have certain sections on my layout that I did that, and it's amazing what the grip is. The other stuff that I used, which was that single can, I'll grab that. This stuff right here, the Krylon Stone.
of course.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
this is amazing stuff. I mean, it's like a one-shot wonder. You go ahead and put that on there, and it just looks phenomenal. But it has such a grippy surface to it. I mean, I have hairpins, and trying to get a car to break loose around it is a challenge sometimes. So
Oh,
if you got a
Wow.
troublesome area on your track, you just throw some of that down.
Marty, when are you getting that?
Oh no.
Marty, what are you still doing here? Get to the store. You got an airbrush you
Right,
need to
man.
buy. You got
Marty has
all
to
this
buy
stuff.
an airbrush.
I got a
he has to
3D
buy
printer
a
I gotta
3D
get.
printer. He has to buy some of
Or
the.
you better start selling more stuff.
Selling more stuff on Facebook Marketplace.
MP, for the black streaks that you're doing on your track, are you using just a paintbrush to that and dry brushing it, or what is the method for that?
Yeah, so I've been using just black acrylic paint. Been brushing some of it, get like a microfiber, dip it. I dilute it with some water to make the streaks, and I also get some used like old Carrera tires and to make the skid marks. I just dip them in paint and kind of run them along the track, just to give it that effect. Again, they're all kind of the ideas I got from watching Boone's videos, because you did that video about over a year ago when you did 3 different types of ways to paint your track.
Yeah, 3
So I
different
watched that
ways.
and just yeah.
Yeah.
And that was very informative. One of the best videos I think I've seen in terms of painting your track and all that stuff. So I just took some ideas from that and went with literally the quick, easiest, dirtiest way to just get something down.
It looks good though.
It looks
Yeah,
good.
nice.
Coming out okay,
Yeah.
but I gotta do that top coat like Boone was mentioning, just to add that extra grip, I think.
Yeah, and it actually will give you more of an aesthetic look to it too. So, yeah.
Gonna
Yeah,
give
I'm
that a
gonna
go.
get some of that for the diorama for sure, because
for
I'm
sure.
gonna
Yeah.
change. I'm gonna paint the track for the diorama, so I'll test out with that for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, in fact, that little diorama that I made, I actually did that 3-can process on that. So just here, let's see here. Yeah, so if you look right down, I don't know if you can see it very well.
Yeah,
but
we
there
can
you
see it.
That looks
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
It really has a lot
Yeah.
of detail.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It has a
fantastic.
lot of detail. That's awesome.
Yeah, and that's just using those, the 3-can process and just misting that coat on there. That other, let's see here. I'm walking around in here.
We're making you work tonight.
I know, right? This is that 1 can that I was talking about.
That's the
So,
stone finish you're talking about.
That looks
Finish.
cool. I don't think it's stone.
That looks awesome too, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a really cool look to it. But yeah, it really improves grip too.
Time to go raid Home Hardware.
HO like trying to take me out.
Yeah. So
So
for
what were
your
the 3 colors that you used on that? Sorry,
go
Roland.
ahead. Go.
Um,
No.
Yeah, I used a primer gray, so
Okay.
like a light primer gray, and then just used a straight white and a straight black, and they're all
Oh, okay.
cry. Yeah. So
That's easy enough.
yeah,
And then for your trees and your foliage, like what do you recommend? What's the easiest thing to do, and what's the one that's more time consuming? Like, what do you recommend for that?
the easiest trees to make are probably the evergreens.
Okay,
You know, the
you can
evergreen
buy
tree.
those pre-made, right, from Woodland Scenics.
You can. I actually go hunt around and find sticks that have some character to them, so it looks like a real. I mean, you can't duplicate Mother Nature.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yep.
You get the grain of the wood and everything else in the bark, and it's really cool. But the evergreen trees are by far the easiest ones to make, and I use a coconut mat and cut that out and then slide it over the top, and then just go ahead and hit that with some green, like the large clumping flock.
Right.
You know, do the spray, you do the spray glue, and then just start, dipping it in that, and it gets a really cool effect.
Nice.
So
Do you have a picture of one of those?
I can show you. How's
Yeah.
that?
Exactly.
So
I hope you're wearing a Fitbit.
yeah,
He-
right? I'm getting
He's closing his rings on his Apple Watch.
Yeah. Here's
Oh
those
yeah,
right
look
there.
at that.
Yeah, the flocking on
Those
like
look
that.
fantastic.
You
That
know,
looks awesome. Yeah, man.
yeah, you come down. So it's like these guys right here, the evergreens. Those are real easy to make.
Wow.
Even let's see here. Can you see? Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
That's a sedum, and that's just has green flock on the top side of it. And those turn out
Amazing.
really. You start getting into the other stuff where you get into
great.
a sea foam. You guys heard of sea foam before, right? Where it's like it's a type of modeling branch you can get. I've got a box around here somewhere of it. But like this tree right here was done with here we go. So this tree right there was done with the sea foam with a natural base. So, but it just, cool stuff. You start getting into trees.
Boone, just start cutting your truck up in sections and selling it. I'm pretty sure you'll make a killing. Then you can rebuild a whole new truck. Right?
Enough
I mean,
to make.
like, yeah, it's crazy. Like every little shot he's taking there is like, oh, that's a scene. Oh, that's another scene. Oh no,
Yeah.
that's another scene. Like it's just
They look amazing.
like I would
Yeah.
lose my mind shooting video there.
Yeah, I watched your video when you made the light tower. Holy cow, there was so much work that went into that, but it looks phenomenal when you were finished. But I couldn't believe the amount of work that went into that.
Burn stuff up it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was a cool little project.
Bill Royal says Boone has festooned this track with branches of pot. So, anybody in the chat have any questions? We got the master here, so feel free to pop your questions in. We also have the Canadian celebrity here as well. So I mean, like, we're blessed tonight. Tonight we're blessed. We have royalty in the house. So let's ask questions.
We're not worthy.
The Three Stooges here. We take a step back.
So what? So what's your next project? Like, what do you have in front of you now that you're going to be creating content about?
Well, I've been doing some stuff with Racetrack Scenics, and we have actually I'll show you real quick. So he has the flying bridge that he came out with, the Watkins Glen flying bridge.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's what this guy is right here. Is that old Watkins Glen flying bridge.
Yeah, that's sweet.
Now they have 3 different versions of it. So I'm going to go ahead and do a video showing all 3 different versions in 1/32 and 1/64 scale, and just kind of, because it's really cool. I mean, when you get all done with it, it's a really cool kit. But actually, I'm waiting for my static grass to get here so I can start doing some more scenery on the track, though. That's the big one.
For your static grass application, do you use an applicator or do you just sprinkle it on and then dust it off?
No, I use an applicator. Definitely use an applicator. Yeah, that's the only way you're really going to get it to stand up on end for you.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I never use a static grass applicator. We just used to sprinkle it on and then dust it off. And that will let it sit up because static grass has got that. But we used to mix, like we normally mix 3 or 4 different grasses together to create this foliage. Yeah, so that's interesting. I've never used an applicator before.
Applicator's really cool. It's really cool. Once you start doing it, it's wild because you'll see, it taking effect and getting all stood up on end and everything else. And just be careful not to cross the streams because it has a heck of a whack to it.
Yeah. Mark Corman has a question for you. Can you run the soldering iron to make a brick look on Carrera track?
Yes.
Okay, there you go, Mark. There's your answer. And the second question, the follow-up would be, do you have a video on that?
No, not on Carrera, just on the scale electric track where I did the cobblestone and the brick effects and then the cracking.
Yeah.
I need to get some Carrera track so I can start doing some stuff for you guys.
Why would you use oil-based paints instead of water-based paints on a layout?
You could. The only problem with oil-based paints when you're going on polystyrene, sometimes some of the oil bases with the solvent will melt into the polystyrene.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do that, you want to make sure that you have some type of covering over the top of the polystyrene. So
it's kind of like with decals on a car when you're using the paint. It's hot and it
exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. It'll bite it.
Same thing with rattle cans. You don't use rattle cans on polystyrene; it will eat the polystyrene right away.
Styrene right away, it'll melt it.
Yeah. So, MP, you got a question?
No, not really. You already covered my grip issue pretty much. So.
Yeah.
He's just in there, not really.
Yeah.
When do we get the last episode of the World Cup?
I was actually doing the voiceover before I joined here, so it's almost done. Hopefully by Wednesday I'll have it out.
Awesome. Yeah. Good.
It's all filmed and everything. I'm just doing the voiceover, the commentary, which is always the fun part.
Right. It's a lot of work, man.
Yeah, it's fun though. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All video stuff is a lot of work when you do it. Editing, and going.
A lot of editing.
Oh man.
It's amazing the editing goes in.
Yeah.
Editing. Yes. Lots of editing.
For a 5-minute video, you spend so much time.
Yeah.
Crazy.
5 minutes. Shoot. Try an hour.
Yours are like an hour.
I did that one build, and I think it's like almost a 3-hour video.
Yeah.
But,
oh God, that took a while.
Yeah,
it was like watching Avatar, but only yours is better.
Right? Yeah, but the editing on that was just crazy. I mean, I had like 80 hours just in the build alone.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was
That's
nuts.
Crazy.
Yeah, that was on that Firestone gantry that I built with the lights and the neon and everything else. That was A lot of stuff.
One thing I'll say though about your videos, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos which are an hour or more, and I can't sit and watch it all. Yours, because you go into so much detail, I'll be glued to the screen for whatever duration of video that you make.
Yeah.
So, good job.
Yeah, well done.
Thanks.
Yeah, you cover all the bases, so it's nice.
Yeah.
I try to. I try to make it as simple as possible. You know, we have so many new guys coming into this hobby and everything else that they've never done this before. You know, and that was the big thing. That was one of the reasons why I started the channels because, well, I saw some wonderful tracks by slot mods, and that's what got me hooked. Really, I saw slot mod tracks, and I was like, wow, that is just awesome. So then I went trying to find on how do you make guardrail? How do you, and there was nothing out there. So I started to kind of figure this stuff out and started to share it on Facebook. And the next thing I know, everyone's asking me, how did you do this? How did you do that? You know? And it was kind of like, you know, no one else is doing this. So why don't I, you know, at least try to show on how to do this? And, you know, one thing led to another. And, but that's kind of the idea is that, you know, there's a lot of new people coming in and everything else. And I want to explain it in such a way that if a person thinks they have two left hands, they can watch one of those videos and go, you know what, I can do that. You know, I could really see myself doing that. And I mean, there's a lot of guys doing scenery, but if you know, you'll see they'll have music or something, and they'll just do a little voiceover. And for a guy that's maybe experienced with scenery, he can look at that and go, oh, okay, I know how he did that and how he did that. But for a lot of people, they'll look at it and go, wow, that's really cool, but I have no clue how he did that, you know? So, so it's just kind of, you know, I don't know. That's kind of the way that I approach it. You know, I have guys that tell me, you know, your videos are too long. You explain stuff too much. And, you know, then you'll have the guy that's going, you know, thank you very much. You know, I never thought I could do this until I saw your videos and, you know, you convinced me that I can do this too. And that's what it's all about, you know.
That's right.
Helping the new people do it. And, you know, I'm a firm believer in that I only, you know, I only can receive what I give away. So if I know a trick or anything else like that, I'm not going to hold it, you know, to me. I'm going to share it with everybody else and say, hey, try this, you know, try this, you know, and that's the way that we grow this hobby, you know.
That's the best part about it because there's a lot of people that don't like doing video, and the people that do it, it kind of saves them their face of doing. Because a lot of guys are like, oh, I don't want to be on video. I don't know how to do that. So if somebody
Right.
goes out and actually does it, then they're like, well, gee, thanks, you know, because I would have never would have known how to do it. It's great to
Right.
have those, and that helps everybody out all the way around. Like, you know, I don't know much about scenery as you do, and then by going off that, it helps me, and then I can pass that on to somebody else. Hey, just watch this video; it shows you how to do it. And that's what's
Right.
great about, you know, YouTube channels and just the hobby, how it comes full circle because everybody helps everybody else.
Yeah, and the cool thing is you might see one of my videos and go, well, but you have an idea in the back of your head as far as that. Well, maybe if I did this, you know, nothing's set in stone. It's just kind of a baseline, and then just take that baseline and run with it. You know.
That's exactly what the scratch pulling is like.
Yeah.
Just here's the basics to get you in the door. If you do
Yep.
something different that you think it's better, I sure as hell want to know because I'll probably use it. But
Right.
it also helps you be more creative. You
Yeah.
know, makes other people creative because then you realize, well, wow, what if I do it this way, my way, because it works better for me. It's like
Right.
I always says, you do what works good for you. This is what works good for me, and you take it, you know, to the next level.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I think explaining videos are really
sometimes
hard
you-
to do. Like personally,
Go ahead,
and
yeah.
I think explaining videos are really hard to do. They're not the easiest thing to do, and hats off to you for doing it because, you know, working around the camera is not easy. Period. So doing an explainer video is even harder because you're trying to do something very technical, but you always got to keep the camera in focus and in frame. It gets really, really tedious. So thank you so much for all the work that you do to put that out.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's what makes it worth it, you know, is helping somebody.
Slot Journal says every great idea is worth stealing. Of course,
There
that's
you
how
go.
we grow. Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like, I mean, it's kind of the reason why I jumped in and started my channel was I was a beginner. I started from ground zero, and I was like, I want people to walk through this journey with me, because if I'm doing something wrong, somebody to tell me. And I just try to be transparent and say, yeah, I messed up the wiring and fried George's tech slot box. And and the
I was like,
feedback
whatever,
the
dude,
feedback
just
that I've
go
gotten.
fix it and figure it out. I'm not worried about it.
Well,
Marty
but that's
felt real
what it
bad, man.
was.
He was like, don't worry
I
about it,
messed it
man.
up and
It's
figured
fine.
it out. I
Yeah.
had to
But I
figure it
was
out, and then shared that. And the feedback that I got from that one video, it's like, hey man, thanks. I've had the tech slot box for a year and a half, and I've been afraid to plug it in because I didn't want to burn it up. And I watched your video and I figured out how to do it. And but that's not one time. I had that message 10 or 15 times. And it's like that's why I sit in front of this camera, and my wife makes fun of me because I talk to the camera every evening. But it's worth it to
Yeah.
help people.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And I
besides,
appreciate what you guys are doing.
yeah, and besides, it's fun to do it too. I mean, remember the first couple of videos that I did, and I know that anybody else that's done the first couple of videos, you know, you're like, well, what do I say? And you know, and it's kind of funny when you go back and actually see them, and you're like, whoa, I was like this, stiff as a board, you know. It's funny.
Clint says, Boone, thanks for the great video on jumpers.
Yeah, yeah, that was
Yeah.
kind of a tricky one. That's one of those subjects that there are a lot of guys out there that have ways to do jumpers. And it was kind of like, how do I do this video in such a way? So
Marty,
Yeah.
you're a natural born
Yeah.
celebrity, Dan Wiley says. So your first video was great, and he got hooked ever since. So
Oh, that's funny. Not a chance. Not even close, man.
Oh yeah, Marty. The other day I was watching one of your videos, and my girlfriend was with me. We're watching. He's like, "He has such a radio voice. I love listening to this guy."
In my other hobby, I sing. So
yeah.
I play
Okay.
guitar and sing. So that's
That
where it comes from.
explains how your voice is very good then, because I can't
Nice.
sing with crap.
I think Boone,
I didn't say I sang. I said I sing.
Boone's frozen again.
Yeah, we lost Boone again. He'll come
Well,
back.
no.
Yeah.
He's on his cell phone.
Maybe that
That's
means
why.
it's time to
Yeah, I think
close
we're
up
gonna
shop.
wrap this up anyway.
Great
So
having him, though. That was awesome.
you know, this is like
Yeah, this was
you
fun.
know the fact that honestly I've never messaged Boone before in my life. I'm kind of intimidated by a lot of the bigger guys, to be fair. So I don't really reach out to
Same.
them too much. But because we're talking about terrain, and somebody messaged on one of the comments and said you should really try and get Boone out here, and then I messaged him, and honestly, like it's humbling that they just jump on and share. And you know, like I said to MP the other day when I met him, I was like, yeah, you know, I got into YouTube. The first video I watched was MP slot cars. You know, like was one of the first slot car videos I watched, right? And I was like, hey, I think I can do the same kind of thing, you know. And then here we are, you know, whatever.
If this buffoon can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so funny. It's let's see here.
We lose him too. Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
We lost Boone.
Yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, so I mean like it's crazy. I think but I really like the community. I think the more live streams, the more we bring people in, I think it's really that's what it's all about for me. It's just inclusion. You know, get more and more people included, get people talking. I'm really liking the fact that guests are coming on and starting to share their builds. Like tonight, it was impressive to see custom car builds from people that call themselves novices. I mean,
Right.
like some of those chassis were like crazy good.
Yeah, the hot rod was fantastic.
Yeah, I like how
Yeah.
you did the holes in the frame on the chassis. That was a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
good,
so
guys.
Boone
Great.
gives a thumbs up. And yeah, once again, like It's just been great. I mean, I jumped on MP. Honestly, it's so cool to have like a guy like MP close to me. I'll be honest, like it's really cool. And sometimes when you're doing YouTube, you can get you can doubt yourself, I think, and it's just having like George and Marty and now MP and all these people around you just helps you get motivated again, right? So I really wanted to say thank you to everyone on this chat, everyone listening, and yeah, like it's been a great live stream again. So question is, what are we gonna do for next week? Marty, any ideas?
Oh, and I don't know. I would like to talk about track planning. I'm
Okay.
right now working on another layout, and so I think that might be a good subject down the road for us to discuss. I don't know. I took full advantage of George's Revo slot tuning, and got my Revo slot tuned up pretty good. So
Did it
that was
help
really good. Maybe we do
on
something
your
else.
track at least?
Oh my gosh, dude, I finished 6th out of 17, 18 guys. I'll take
Cool.
that anytime.
Nice.
I'm usually last place.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
you
Car
know,
was flying.
just so you guys know, that Truer is coming out.
Boone's back.
There you go. That tire Truer is coming out. Like the one that Harry posted out in a video
Yeah,
of.
that's
Next
exciting.
week, they should be, yeah. So that'll help you like with your Carrera for going to the other track there in Cincy. You need to true the wheels. Once you true the wheels, because I was talking to Harry about that. He says, yeah, probably truing the wheels will really help a lot. That's kind of one of your disadvantages. And then, getting your tires trued, and you should be a lot better. Less rolling resistance, so you should be a little quicker.
Yeah.
Okay, so next week
Yeah,
we
that
want
would
to talk
help.
about track planning. Is
Sure.
that a good topic?
Okay.
Marty, you good
Yeah.
to lead?
I'll come with okay. I'll come up with some my designs I'm looking at, and then everybody can give me feedback on what's good and bad about them.
Excellent.
We all get to vote on Marty's design on this track. There you go. I like
That's
that.
it.
Oh, we'll build it
Well,
up.
I won't. I'm
Get
not.
rid of it. Get rid of
I'm
the
going to be
banks.
transparent. My friend Jamie from Cincinnati, who designed Cincy Slots track, sent me some designs to start with, so I will give him full credit.
Boone's back again. Yay!
Thanks for
I'm
coming
back.
on, man. That's
Yeah.
great having you on. It was
Just
really
yeah,
wonderful.
thanks, Boone.
Yeah, we
Appreciate you
really
being here.
appreciate you jumping on. Like I cannot say how appreciative I am. Thank you so much. And MP, thank you as well. But we got to talk about collabs that we're gonna do together. So definitely gonna work on that. As for cars, I got lots of them now.
On the way
Oh
to-
yeah, guy cleaned me out.
It wasn't intentional. I was trying to help you out there. Oh my
I
God.
know. He kept winning. I'm like, okay. Oh, man. Marty, very quickly, is it another Carrera track that you're gonna build?
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of rework this, and I'm trying to decide whether I'm gonna go 4 lanes.
Okay.
I might go 4 lanes,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's early stages.
Excellent.
Okay.
Well, next week we're gonna critique Marty on his track design.
Yeah. There you go.
I guess
I'm
I'm
ready
gonna have to.
for it.
I'm gonna have to bring
Bring it
Travis on for this. I'm gonna have to get Travis.
Oh, yeah,
to,
definitely.
like, log on to this one. Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
he'll tell me you've got a spaghetti track.
Yeah. Well, Sunday's got to
Las
jump on
Vegas.
too. Sunday's the best critic. I mean, I remember my first track video that he scarred me for life. On that one. Gave me a 1 out of 5. But MP saw how many shoulders I have.
Oh yeah, man, you cleaned them out. You have a shelf full of shoulders.
Yeah. Shot the fantastic night, guys. Thank you so much. I want to say thanks to everyone that attended tonight. I want to thank Boone specifically for jumping on last minute. Thank you so much, MP, once again as well. Dan and Danny, thank you so much for jumping on as well.
Yes.
Until next week, guys. Hopefully you guys have fun on rails, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
All right. Take care, guys.
Yeah,
See you
guys.
later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Later.
Bye.